All right, good evening, everyone. 6:30. I'll call the meeting to order. First up, modifications or changes to the agenda. Does anybody have anything to change? Hearing none, I'll move on to public comment. Is there anybody here from the public that wishes to speak? Is there anyone on Zoom or no?
Nope.
Cool.
Too nice outside.
Oh my gosh.
Everyone's playing hooky.
That's great.
All right, no public comment. Review and approval for minutes, March 22nd. If you guys had a chance to look those over and didn't see any errors, I'll hear a motion to accept them.
Make a motion.
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
So those opposed, nay. All right, park use permit. We got a lot of permits to go through tonight. Parks use permit and bandstand permit for the Dairy Festival.
So we did follow up with Pierre and just asked him to put in the permits because our policies changed since the last time that we had June Dairy Day. So he did that, provided certificate liability insurance and just had the question regarding the fee if the board was going to be willing to waive the fee for them.
I don't have a question about that, but I'm just, I've looked over all these requests and I don't see any issue with them. Could we just bulk
I got
approve
one
them?
where I'm hoping I could sneak in on you guys too, that Shauna sent me. It's in follow up to a previous discussion too
Okay.
on the food trucks. It's more specific, if you guys are willing to hear this one tonight as well.
Yeah,
But
you like to answer your question, I think we gotta do them all. So
Okay, I didn't know.
we can cruise right through them. I mean, I don't think there's anything that we haven't discussed already,
Right.
either EVA or
EVA
Dairy
to follow up,
Festival.
one just from last week too, so.
That's what I was thinking.
and the reasoning lies in case something later, if there's a change or something, that it's a motion to one specific.
It's fine. I just was asking.
Okay,
So,
bandstand permit. I don't see any issues with that. Your motion to accept.
I'll move.
Heather,
I
second. Okay, all those in favor say aye.
And what are we doing with the fee?
We'll waive the fee. Larry, good evening. Sorry we started without you. We figured you'd be coming in.
I just flew in from Burlington.
Oh.
JetBlue.
So, we've done modifications and changes, public comment, and review and approval of minutes. We're on the permits right now. We got quite a few of them to go through tonight. We're on the Lions Club bandstand permit right now, number 4.
Park use and bandstand, I guess.
So, we accept the permit and waive the fee.
Yep.
All right. Up next is Easter egg hunt for April 16th with the EVA.
This was a follow-up to the board's request to submit the actual park use permit on this, and like I said, I also have another one for the food trucks. They have the specific dates on there. I didn't make enough copies, sorry if you just want to pass that around, but Shauna was hoping we could get that approved tonight as well.
Okay, well, hang on to this one until
Yeah.
we're done Easter egg hunt. So, the only catch that I can see in this is that they are requesting that the village crew pick up the park prior to the event.
That's already been happening. They've been doing spring cleanup anyway,
Yeah.
and the guys have been out there and they should have it for the most part wrapped up tomorrow.
yeah, it's pretty clean, I just
They
walked
did
through it, it's very nice.
Great job today. And I know Shauna was planning on doing a last minute walk through the night before just in case.
Yeah, and she had said that too, they normally just pick up whatever.
Okay, that was my only sticking
Yeah.
point, so nobody else says anything. I'll hear a motion to approve.
I'll move.
I'll second.
You're the first, Heather with the second, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, next up, park use permit and bandstand permit for Vermont Thunder Memorial Day ceremony with the American Legion. Again, I think this is kind of an annual thing. Yeah, it's just a meeting point in the park. So if we all approve, I will hear a motion to,
I think the motion to approve that.
all right, Leonard has the first or second.
Second.
Heather the second, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Park use permit, local Memorial Day activity, American Legion, Post 42. This is a different
Yeah, so the
day.
first one,
There's two
Yeah, that's
separate.
the day they do the parade and stuff.
Yeah,
Okay.
yes, the first one has the motorcycles. And,
No, it is the same day.
it's different days. One's the 29th and one's the 30th.
It says on the bandstand permit request the 29th.
Yep, and then there's.
Oh, it's because the 29th is the park
Oh,
and
gotcha.
bandstand.
Okay, yep, got it. Yeah, again, pretty straightforward. I'll hear a motion to accept.
Move.
Eli first,
Second.
Heather the second. All those in favor say aye.
Okay.
All right, we're cruising right through these here.
Yeah.
All right, again, another annual one, park use permit and bandstand permit for Enosburg Falls High School graduation.
I want to point out on that one, there's no parade this year. They are not going to be doing the parade again just for some safety concerns.
And they got their permit on time this year.
Yes.
Learn well in advance.
Learn the system. So it's just graduation in the park.
Just graduation in the park, no parade.
Do they have to do a park? Wait, no, I said the park permit.
There
Never
should
mind.
be park and band.
It's just, I expect it to be on the other side of it. It's the way it's photographed. Yeah. It's one thing to see it on the computer, another thing to see it in the back.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, again, if everyone is in favor of this, I'll hear a motion to approve.
Move.
I'll second.
Either the first or the second, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And just to be clear, we're waiving the fees on all of these.
Yes.
All right, and then our bonus permit here
Thank you.
is from the EBA, and it appears to be
Dates are at the top.
food trucks.
Yep. The food trucks and concert series that Sean spoke about a while back.
So on the dates are 6/20, 6/27 if it's rainy, 6/18/25, and then 8/15/17 if it's rain days.
Yeah, but you said 6 twice.
There's rain days.
Right, rain days. So June
Yeah, but-
June 20th or the 27th.
Right, the 18th you said was 6/18.
Oh, 7/18.
That's what's
yeah.
me off.
I don't know how to count. Yeah, they. I don't know
So
if anyone
once
else
a
wants to
month?
prove this. What was that?
They're doing it once a month.
Yes. Yep, once a month for the summer and during concert times.
And it's Mondays.
Was it Mondays?
Yeah.
No,
I thought they were Tuesdays.
Band place?
No, this isn't for the band. This is
Oh, I thought they were doing it at
concerts.
the. Oh, I get you. Sorry.
Yeah, so there's the band concerts every
Monday.
Tuesday, but this would be a different day, but they
It's a
talked
different
about
concert.
Oh,
Mondays.
that's right.
Yeah, that's, this is a Enosburg Bank.
No, not the Enosburg
Yeah.
Band. Yes, that's right. That's right. Okay.
Excellent.
Yeah. All right. I'll hear a motion to approve this one as well.
I approved that.
Whenever the first or second.
One of the two of us. I'll second.
Eli with the second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Thank you.
I think that's it for.
That was it. You guys made it through.
Okay. Up next, welcome signs. Good evening.
Hi. This is gonna be pretty short, but right now, as Gary knows, and Jesse Woods, we are trying to find appropriate locations around on the highways to put the signs in. And I was really hoping for a sign down below the Northwestern Medical Building. But come to find out, and Gary can explain this better than I can,
The state has a 50-foot right of way, so they're, matter of fact, the road goes almost up the parking lot, so we can't put anything in the state right of way.
Up to the parking lot. What
Right from St. Albans
At the
Street,
doctor's office.
you know, the health center, all the way up through to pretty much Zell's.
Mhm.
The right of way goes almost to Zell's garage. I mean, that right of way is 50 feet from center line. And state will not let us put any signs in the state right of way, even though there's signs there right now, which I sent them a picture of the health center signs in there. There's a couple Lions signs there. There's a couple, it's a little church, so many miles. But they said, you had to be out of the state right away.
So I'm assuming that if we replace the existing sign, we won't have any issues.
I think that
You don't-
the sign's not there.
Yeah, I know, it's
I really don't wanna do that, it's down in the ditch down there. So what we've been doing is we've been looking at alternatives. And down there, in that location, we're kind of looking at a spot right across the road from the quick stop. There's a lot, I say vacant, that's how it says, that's not vacant.
It belongs to somebody, but
That's
it's not.
It's Jason Doe's grandmother's lot.
Yeah, there's a lot there.
There's a power
The
pole,
lines.
there's a power pole right there, and it would be as good a place as.
Yeah, the right of way is 3 rods, which is 24.9 feet. So getting permission from the
Off the center.
off the center.
And we have to get permission, no matter what.
Right. Permission from line with the state right of way.
I mean, they're all gonna be off the property. So we're gonna have to get permission for that. So, let me see. Another one that we would like to see is coming in on 108. Donna Kuchar's, Donna Kuchar's place, just below their lawn, where the meadow starts right there. I talked to Jesse about that, and apparently that's home with Jarvis's. And let's see, one of the signs go there. What are you thinking? One coming in on 105. If, when we meet on the 20th, if we can convince the Lions to let us remove that sign, I would like to see one there.
In the same spot.
And if not, there are other places.
So right across from the industrial park, or the industrial.
Those are all 3 rod roads, so it's all 4.9 feet.
Have you reached out to the lot owner on 105 or Jarvis's yet?
But I will. Other than that, I just want to say the grant money, the $2,500 grant, some of the strings have been loosened up on that. And it sounds to me like it's available to use. So that could mean that we could have 4 signs and not just 3. So if that's something you want to do, we can go down that road.
We have enough budgeted for 3, we have $4,300 budgeted.
Yep. And the fourth would be 108 coming in from
Yes, West Berkshire.
Canada way.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. And then we've settled on this design.
Yes.
Yeah.
However, there's still one string with $2,500, and that is that we put the wording on that sign that this is the home of the Vermont Dairy Festival. Which we did actually. In the
It
very
may help
beginning.
to appease the Lions a little bit too.
Yeah.
Yes.
We'll keep everybody happy, I think. Right there. I just saw, that's. Right there.
Well, this is where the bottom sign is the one, but the rest of the sign doesn't. The rest of the sign is not correct. But basically that's the wording. But the sign will look like this.
Where do you think it would go down the bottom?
It's either gonna be here or possibly on a board under that.
Yeah.
I kind of like the separate board.
Mhm. It makes it stand out without crowding.
Yep. Okay.
I can be in favor of that.
Yeah, I like the separate board piece. I think that may be
Yeah.
good with its own border and everything, you know.
So we'll try 1 for 4.
Sounds
Perfect.
good.
All right.
I'll check on the landowners.
Yeah. Let us know what they say. Again, worst case scenario.
You're talking right across from the mobile station?
Yeah.
So
You can put one on my lawn, it's maybe a little bit too late, but
that's Jason's grandma's.
You're correct.
I've got, if anybody wants to see it.
We've done
there's
it.
other pages, but
I put one there, I don't care.
email change from Jesse about partner and
What do you think
then
about
we're
that?
talking somewhere
I think, I
over
don't know that, I don't think she'd have an issue with it. Unless you speak French, there's a lot of communication barrier.
Okay.
She is not very good at with English, and she can't hear hardly at all.
We own all of this.
So it might be
I think
best
they're looking at doing
if you can
signs.
set up a time with Jason to go talk to her,
So,
would be my I think that would be the easiest.
Yeah, it had to go in there. I'm fairly certain that's that law right before Jeff Waters.
I believe you're correct.
What's that?
Is Jason in good standing with?
Oh,
Okay. Is that it for signs?
That's it.
Thank you, Dave.
thank you.
Alrighty, moving right along. Trout Brook study update. Brian, you're just in time.
Next up.
So, going back to Wayne Elliott's preliminary engineering study that he did, he kind of presented two options. One was to demo everything inside the existing structure and create that as a wet well. And the other one was to make a whole new structure designed appropriately outside the existing structure. Excuse me. We went with using the existing structure as a wet well, and I just started looking at some things and just had a couple concerns. I think it's almost too generous, and the amount of flows that go through there, I'm afraid things are going to sit around and go septic. It's also got square corners, and I'm concerned that there might be settling in the corners. So I did some calculation, real generic. Going with the existing structure, the pumps would run 1 to 2 times a day. If we were to design a structure to go inside there, they'd run probably 5 to 6 times a day. So that's what the basin is for. It's on, I don't know, did you get a sheet?
I did
Yeah.
give them, Laramie's.
Just a quote from Laramie.
Yes.
It wouldn't be, there's some components that are actually in both, so it wouldn't be a complete increase in that total amount. There's probably $1,500 to $2,000 that is going to be in either scenario. But I just have concerns with odors and settling. And Wayne kind of agrees the more he looked into it.
And that's with the 60 by 108, or is that just turning that building right into?
That's using a fiberglass that come in 3-foot sections and create a designed wet well within the existing structure. So it eliminates the construction costs of his other concept of creating a structure outside.
Is there already
So
wet
it's kind
well
of a
there?
modified, there really isn't a wet well, there's just a basement. And he's basically looking to just flood the basement. But I think that's a pretty generous containment. And especially in the summer months, I've got concerns about odors and things of that nature. There was a concept of putting some mixers in the corners. That would come with about half the expense, but then you've got maintenance and replacement parts.
So what you're proposing is a smaller tank that would sit inside of that building.
Correct, yep. It is something we could do later if there were issues. I kind of feel like the time to do it is while the project's being done and not involved with potential of having those issues down the road.
I assume the fiberglass pieces must bolt together into a circle?
They come together and then there's usually like what's called mastic. It's what,
So, what is there for a door into that place? There's a door big enough to get a 5-foot by 3-foot thing in there?
you can fit it in sideways.
So there's a 36-inch door
There's
on that?
3 feet, 2-inch grating that they can slide down into. And then they'd be tacked to the bottom and placed together.
I wasn't sure what age that building was, if it actually had a 36-inch door.
It's got a 42-inch door.
Okay.
Yeah.
You never know, some old stuff.
That was some of my concerns. It's fortunate he came up with one that actually fits the components that were already ordered, the Homa. And this was their sort of modification to accommodate that.
Well, if this sounds like the best idea, I'd say we go for it.
Yep. I'm game.
I appreciate it because I just don't want any issues down the road. We've had some other issues locally with some border control stuff, and it's never a happy scenario.
So are you ready to order this?
There's a 6-week lead time, so it should come in plenty, actually probably before the rest of the components.
Do we need to go out to bid for 3?
We did it on the whole Trout Brook study, you guys waived the procurement policy.
Okay.
Just because it's a unique situation and a unique design specific to Phil Laramie.
Okay. Yeah, I don't have an issue approving this quote. I don't think we need a motion. Yeah, we do. We do
Probably
need a
should,
motion.
just in case.
Yeah, I'll hear a motion to approve this basin quote from Laramie Water Resources for $11,910.64. Eli the first, is there a second?
I'll second that.
Leonard with the second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And those opposed nay. Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Painless.
Quick and somewhat painful, but
You should try these chairs. We're talking about paintball.
Oh, no.
Thank you, Ryan.
Yes, you're gonna hear about it every time.
Have a good night, guys. Thank you.
Good night.
Thank you.
All right, Gary's up next with some Main Street paving repair.
So I apologize, when I sent out the packets, I kind of forgot in Gary's memo to go with the quotes that were in there. So I'll let Gary kind of.
So I went to, got 3 people to give me quotes on the paving. The most expensive one is one to get here next week. Mr. Hungerford we had before, he was the lowest, but last time we had him, we had to redo the paving the following year because it was not done correctly. And Mr. Premier can't get there till end of May, first part of June. So I guess it's up to you guys of how quick you want it paved. ECI said they can be here next week. If, matter of fact, he texted me one out here sitting there because he's trying to schedule one for next week. The paving plant's open the 18th. So.
And Hungerford also isn't available until mid-May.
Late May. I know it's more expensive, but again, time we do all our go and have Kenny once a day or twice a day go
Yeah,
put gravel in and
that needs to be fixed right away.
and ECI's have been good. If they have a problem with them, they come back and fix their mistakes.
I would say if it was like out on the end of Missisquoi Street, like, maybe you can wait, but
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
No,
right
it's-
there is kind of.
So my only concern is the last time that we had a water main break there, it got repaired, but I don't think they did a very good job.
That's how.
It was. Okay, it was like a 4-inch like dip in and then dip out.
Because I told him, I said, you can't put 4 inches in one time. Me and Kenny were very upset with it. He did it, you just in and out and gone. It's like, this is not gonna work. You can't pack 4 inches at a time.
Yeah.
And that's why we had got engineers come back when we're doing the paving project to mill it and repave that 1.5 inches to get it back up where it belongs.
Yep. There's a lot of traffic on that corner and a lot of
Yeah.
accelerating and
What they're
accelerating.
what Eastside is gonna do is bring their milling machine in and mill everything right into a dump truck. There'll be no digging with an excavator, so obviously they come out with their milling machine, mill out 4 inches, compact it,
Yeah.
take a paver, pave it, and then do a shelf on the old pavement, so it'll tack into the old pavement, so it won't settle into the thing. So that's why my recommendation to engineers is I've had good experience with them, and they've always done what we've asked, and if there's problems, they're always there to take care of it and not.
Mhm.
I know it's more money, but again, they can be here within, weather permitting, again, it's rain for a week with me, but
That's my main thing. I mean, it's only you're talking less $2,500 more, but
Yeah.
it's soon. So
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have an issue with going with engineers construction. I know they are the high bid, but we gotta have that whole thing.
Yeah.
I do the area come in and all that.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, if everyone agrees, I'll hear a motion to get ECI up here.
I'll move.
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
Thank you.
All right.
You guys, if you don't mind circling back, Maggie is on from the high school and just let her know that we're kind of moving quickly through.
Meeting, Maggie. Yeah, we kind of cruised right through our permit requests tonight, so the timing doesn't match up on the agenda, but you're all set. You're good to go.
I love that. Awesome. And no parade also, just to make everybody's lives easier. Cool. All right, I'm gonna log off then. Thanks, guys.
All right. Have a good
Have a
night.
good night.
We have started cleaning the park.
Yeah.
We're gonna start putting more, we've got some dead limbs off some trees that are kind of.
I'm way ahead of you.
Okay, sorry.
So I was asked, when are we going to start sweeping?
I think Kenny, tomorrow, if it's weather permitting, it's not too rainy, you may start sweeping tomorrow.
Okay, perfect.
We're kind of short-handed.
Yeah, I know. I don't. Yeah. I didn't want to
In
pressure
fact,
anybody.
they had a slow and heavy work today.
We made him pick up a rake and now we're not gonna get the end of the
Poor guy.
Straight in a blister.
So,
Okay.
I think we just plan on doing it, we get it early in the morning before the cars get there. It works good if it rains,
Yeah.
If it rains too hard, it's too much water.
Keep the dust down.
We just drained tires last week on the back tires on it, so it's ready to go.
Yeah, he's been itching to get out there too, he mentions it.
Yeah. Awesome.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Thanks, Gary. All right.
Sorry, I'm talking over you. I do this.
Up next, Velco annual shareholders meeting.
Typically, this is something our village manager would have kind of addressed and it wouldn't have really come to you guys, but I don't have signature authority on this. This is just the annual meeting that's held every year with Velco. Our interest in this has to do with our dividends and being members. What basically I need is, there is somewhere in here, the last page where it says signature of shareholder. We'll need, what ends up happening, Ken Nolan from DEXA represents all of the municipal utilities on this, and typically Jonathan would just sign this, and then Ken would cast our vote. So I would need a motion giving Sam authority to sign off on this, so I can get it back to them first thing tomorrow morning, because the meeting is Thursday. And then Ken represents everyone. It's usually a quick annual thing, nothing too exciting.
So I'll make a motion to give Sam signatory authority.
I'll second that.
All right. You have the first, I have the second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And I can have you sign it whole like that.
Perfect. All right. Another easy one.
And
Up next, banking resolution update.
I to make this one easy for you guys too, and I pre-typed out what I need motions of. This is to remove Jonathan. We'll have to do this again, once we hire another village manager, but I know the board wanted to make this update immediately. So I'll give this to Sam to kind of read it out. It's for all three banks. TD Bank's gonna be a little bit different. We didn't get everybody to go in and sign the first time. So this is gonna just basically be a repeat of what we did almost a year ago, to add myself, Sandy, Heather and Eli, to leave Sam, Leonard and Andy on, and then to remove John, Guyborough, Jesse Woods, Jason Rose, and Matt Miner. We will need to update who has access to our safe deposit box in there. I'm gonna have Andy do a little bit of legwork for that process, because I'm not on the account at the moment. So 3 banks, it's all great.
Well, thank you for typing me a list, so I don't have to scribble it all down in my notes like I did last time. All right. I need a motion for, this is Community National, to remove Jonathan Elwell, leaving myself, Eli Gabuzda, Heather Moore, Leonard Sharon, Sandra Ferlin, Andy Bolio, and Abby Miller.
Make the motion.
Second.
Heather the first, you have the second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, for TD Bank, I need a motion to add Abby Miller, add Sandra Furlan, add Heather Moore, add Eli Gabuzda, leave myself, Leonard Sharon, Andre Bolio, and to remove Jonathan Elwell, Guyborough, Jesse Woods, Jason LaRose, and Matthew Miner.
So move.
Leonard the first or second?
Second.
Heather the second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, People's Trust Company. I need a motion to remove Jonathan Elwell, leaving myself, Eli, Heather, Leonard, Sandra, Andy, and Abby.
I'll move.
Eli the first,
Second.
Heather the second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right.
So at some point I'll have paperwork. Everybody is going to have to go into TD Bank with their ID and sign. Once the minutes are approved at the next meeting, so sometime early part of May, we'll have to kind of address all of that.
All right. Thank you, Abby.
No problem.
Up next, ARPA funds discussion.
I'm gonna start back. So I know Heather was on the same call that I was on last week. They've changed things and simplified things drastically. I don't have any paperwork in your packets if that's what you're looking for. And They've changed it now on the revenue loss side of things. They're offering what's called the standard allowance. So basically, they are highly encouraging, and I mean leagues of cities in town, for everybody to take the standard allowance. What that does is gives munis so much more freedom and flexibility with using those funds. Like right now, we couldn't use any of our ARPA funds essentially for anything like electric department related. Now, this would open it up where we could. Where before you couldn't use any funds for paving or like building a new town garage or doing any of that. This allows you a lot more freedom to do that. But the catch is, I have our first report that's due April 30th. So if the board chooses to take the standard allowance, which I also recommend that we do, there needs to be a motion made tonight for me to do that because I have to report that on our April 30th, and that's the only time that we have to take this option.
And
Right.
it can be used for repaving or just paving of.
It can be used for paving new roads, for anything. It opens up the possibilities of what we can do, where before we couldn't use it for a lot of stuff. And now it's like section 6.1 is what they changed in the final rule. So it's a lot less reporting on my end of what we would have to report for what we use the funds for. And it opens up a lot more freedom to use these funds because it's assuming the revenue loss versus having to go through their very complicated calculation that we were looking at before.
But you don't have to prove any loss. You're allowed to
Right.
assume up to, I think it was $1 million, which is way more than what.
Up to 10 million, I believe.
Yeah, so it's way more than
And we're
our
only getting
municipality got.
400,000, so we could use all of that 400,000 more freely than before.
I think that's the route that we need to
Sounds
go.
pretty good to me.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'll hear a motion to allow Abby to. Was
We
it
just need a
file
motion
for-
that we're gonna take the standard allowance.
Yeah, I need a motion. We're gonna take the standard allowance.
I'll move.
Sorry.
Second that.
Either with the first, I heard Heather first. Sorry. All those in favor say aye. Those opposed nay. Okay.
They do record, there's a recording of that ARPA presentation if anybody wants. So we could
Yeah.
just forward it, like they explain like the first 10 minutes.
The
It's a
other,
whole hour, but there's a lot of Q&A later.
And we have what 630 or something.
430, around 400, I believe.
I mean, even paving projects, that's a major tax burden on everyone involved in the village. So I mean, you can free up some
I'm
of
gonna
those funds.
verify that, but I'm pretty sure we can use it for new, I wanna clarify, ask that specific question, but I was under the impression that we could do that now.
That would be handy.
And this will give us some direction so that when, because the community has asked many times to have conversations, now we have a bit of a direction on where to go and what kind of conversations we can have.
Is there any way that that money can be used to pay off existing debt?
No.
We're already in a hole.
No,
But if it can prevent us from accumulating or acquiring more,
Like
that
Maple Park is deadly right now,
That road is awful.
and that would be something that wouldn't burden the taxpayers any more than.
the sidewalks that we were not able to
Sidewalks.
address.
there's several grants too for the sidewalks for next year, that I already kind of have a budget list going for next year to explore as well, just to kind of maybe free up some of the ARPA money for other projects too, but there's a significant amount of grants out there specifically for sidewalks and stuff that we can apply for, that I would like to see us apply for like the Pearl Street project we were discussing and possibly Church Street and all of that, so.
And then there's also the electric department. If we can funnel some of this money into the electric department, that would give us some breathing room.
It would significantly, which we're gonna touch on a couple of those things in my staff report, so. Yeah, there's a couple of good possibilities for those funds that this gives us a lot more freedom that can take the burden off of taxpayers and ratepayers right now. Some of the projects we're gonna need to start addressing. The other hoop that I have to jump through, and I don't believe I'm gonna need anything from the board, but just to give you guys a heads up, the only way for me to go into the portal would have been in the beginning of the ARPA funds, when Jonathan was here, he was set as the administrator. I don't So he's the only person that can go in and set up our portal. So tomorrow I will be on the phone with the Department of Treasury for a while, trying to change that. Leagues of Cities and Towns seems to believe that they can just change that authorization over the phone. So, to be continued. Hopefully we can get that.
Is there any reason that we would want or need a motion to
I was
just make
just
sure that
Thinking that as I was
that way you don't have to come back to us?
It saves some time.
Yeah, it probably wouldn't hurt, because the report has to be submitted by the 30th and our next meeting's not till what, the 26th. So, yeah, as I was saying that, I was thinking it might be a good idea just to make me the account administrator, I believe is the terminology for it.
All right, I will hear a motion to direct Abby to remove John from the ARPA portal.
Yep.
And add herself as the administrator.
I mean,
Leonard with the first, their second.
A second.
Heather with the second. All those in favor say aye.
Okay.
All right. Okay, is that it for ARPA stuff right now?
That was it. Yep.
Anybody else? All right.
Yeah.
You have.
oh, I have a question about the hydro. Has anything been done? Is the hydro going yet, or?
So Village 1 is going. We had a hiccup with the controls last week that made me panic for half a day because we did have to shut it down for about 10 minutes and we were nervous if it was going to come back up, but we, thank God, Al, got it back up. So Village 1 is going. The Kendall is down still.
It's,
I actually tonight had a conversation with Dave. We just got figures today that Dave and I are going to talk about a little more thoroughly tomorrow before we come to the board, to do what we need to do, which is basically at this point we're going to be replacing the controls in the Kendall. That's about the only option we have to get it going. It will be changing engineers from who we currently have, which is in our best interest right now because unfortunately it's just been phone tag and not the most responsive. The company that I think I told you guys about, ETS, Electrical Technology Solutions, they maintain Sheldon's hydro and they're in the area at least twice a month. So that's how we kind of got connected so we can at least get that support. But we have two options that we're looking at, which is the quicker option would be changing vendors from what we have now from Siemens to GE. So Dave and I are going to kind of go through this a little more thoroughly tomorrow because they just came in today. But we're close. Depending on which one we go with, if we go with Emerson, which is GE, they have most of the stuff in stock.
That'd be good.
If we stay with Siemens, which is what we have now for Village 1, it's pretty much another 6 to 8 months.
Isn't that a German company?
That I don't know, to be honest with you.
Not that it matters, but lead time and stuff.
But
Could the ARPA money pay for any of that?
I'm not sure. We budgeted $15,000, and that was to come out of their savings. My other thought was we had budgeted almost $22,000 for a capital project to start the engineering study for the lines underground. If the board would be willing to defer those funds to this before we do that, maybe hold off on that. Unfortunately,
I would agree.
this is more of a priority. We're losing money.
I know that's my baby, but we got other stuff to do.
I appreciate that. And that'll get us pretty close. We'll be a little bit short. We're looking at about $43,000 to do this project. The rest we can just take a little bit more out of savings if need be. The board can authorize that to make up the gap. So,
Cool. It'll be good to have that up and running.
Probably lost more than that in the last year and a half.
boy.
Down a year.
Tessa was actually going to put some numbers together. I don't know that I really want to see them, but to show basically what our revenue loss has been with having the Kendall down. As long as we've had the Kendall down, by the time we get up and running, we'll be close to probably 2 years of being down.
We wonder why our transmission costs went up
On the
substantially.
budget base, they budget also. They're predicting another dry year, so that means Village 1 most likely is going to have to go down at some point because we need that does more of a ponding method, so we need a certain pool of water. If we don't have enough, we get in Village 1, which is our bigger one. But the Kendall's the run of river, so that can have the lower flow. So it would be very awesome if we could get the kennel going for the summer, especially if we have another dry year. So fingers crossed, but to be continued. Most likely next trustee meeting, we'll formally present the 2 quotes and
That'd
get
be
the
good
ball
news.
rolling with that. Yeah, that's gonna be fantastic news. But, you know, I just go into the rest of the staff report.
Yeah, sure, let's jump right in.
Okay. Regional Planning Commission Board appointments, Jesse called me after the last meeting. He did confirm that he can both represent both the village and the town if the trustees still want to take that standpoint and appoint him to the second seat along with Leonard.
Yes.
Yep.
I'll hear a motion to appoint Jesse Woods as our Regional Planning Commission Board appointment.
Motion.
Second.
The first, the second, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right,
Perfect.
thank you, Jesse.
Yes. Barton Electric sale. I know John started briefing you guys on this, but just to follow up on that, and I know I sent you guys an email. Barton did make the decision to move forward with this sale. They've announced that they've accepted VEC's offer, and it's going to taxpayer vote. There is an informational meeting this Saturday, another one on May 1st, and then the vote is May 16th. VEPSA has taken an active stance to discourage the sale. I sent you one of the press releases and I forwarded you guys all an email about the stuff that's come out this week that VEPSA is doing. I did ask the question if there's going to be any financial implications on the rest of VEPSA members, because each one of us has a percentage that we pay towards the projects, and budgets are set for this year. So I'm still waiting to get a response on that, if there's going to be a financial burden on us, or if part of the sale is that VEC has to buy out all of VEPSA contract. I'm not sure.
Right, where do their shares go? I'm assuming that.
So
Barton
I think
owns
it depends on the project, because I believe, if I'm understanding correctly, I think that VEC is buying into like Project 10, but I don't know if they're doing anything else. Like I'm not sure. I'm coming in at the tail end of these conversations, so I've been asking some questions, but Ken Nolan's out the first part of this week, so I'm not 100% sure if there will be an impact on us or how any of that plays out, but I will keep you guys in the loop as soon as I have more information. The next topic is hydro building upgrades. Conversation Dave started with me this winter. We're having, especially Village 1 is the biggest concern right now. We are losing heat significantly out of the ceiling. I guess it's a pretty thin roof structure that's over there. There are some areas where it's also leaking, but my conversation with him started of, let's insulate it. Let's insulate the ceiling at the very least, because if you got 12 to 14 inch brick walls, you can't really do much with that.
You spray foam?
Yes. So this has changed a little bit since I typed this. I actually had a phone call I reached out to VEPSA because this does qualify for Tier 3 credits, and they may have some funding available. And I reached out to Efficiency Vermont to see what they had to offer. They will kick in up to $3,000 of the total project, which doesn't seem like a lot, but if all we have to do is spray foam the ceiling, that'll cover a good chunk of it.
Mm-hmm.
There is some insulation in the ceiling in parts of the Kendall. The Kendall's a little bit different than the Village one because the turbines are underneath, kind of in the water, where the turbines in Village 1 are completely different. And right now we have to run a hose with heat essentially right down into the turbines in the wintertime, because if it's down or it's super cold, we have to be blowing heat in there, otherwise the turbines will freeze. And we're just basically throwing money out the window. I had a very lengthy conversation with Efficiency Vermont today about the windows. He does not suggest doing the windows at this time. He doesn't think we'll get big enough return to justify it. But on the flip side of that, we also talked about, I forget what he said, a passive cooling system, because we have the opposite problem in the summertime where it gets too hot in there when the turbines are running. That those big, they're about 10 feet tall, the windows in the back, we have to open those to try to get some airflow in the building. He suggested looking into a passive cooling system that has mechanical ventilation. So basically 2 vents, one on each side of the building, that are temperature controlled. And as the temperature reaches a certain point, those vents will open to allow more airflow. The only thing with that is I need to look into the historical piece to this. Those 2 buildings are on the historical registry. We have a lot more freedom with anything that we do to the inside of the building because it needs to stay operational and functional for us. I'm gonna have to probably see if we decide to go that route, anything that we can do on the outside of the building, which would be these 2 vents.
I would assume temperature regulation is kind of a crucial part to operation, but
It's gonna probably depend on where they're placed, because the biggest thing is aesthetics at this point in time. Gary and I met with, her name's Polly Allen, she's the historical architect that's doing all of our FERC licensing stuff, and I pitched all of this kind of to her, like what hoops are we gonna have to jump through? And FERC and even SHPO, the historical division, understands like the inside of the building is going to have to change and upgrade over time to stay functional with hydros and advances in kind of the technology for it. It's more the outside, and especially for us because of the location and the bridge of flower and lights, that it's very visual for the community members to see that we have to kind of maintain that historical integrity of those buildings. That'll come into play if we do decide to replace the windows. I do know that the Kendall building, the windows are pretty rough. The wood frame around all of them you can put your finger through, and some of the glass is cracked, so that may be something to look into down the road, but that's gonna be costly due to the historical aspect of it. And
There's a lot of grants for that too.
there is, but that's, yes. And Village One, because we've got 3 windows that are 10 feet tall. And I know those are gonna cost a pretty penny alone, but then to maintain the historical, which are luckily all on the back side, but we have to do that. So right now, I guess bottom line, to stop me from rambling, I would like permission to continue to move forward with looking into insulating. It may be something that doesn't happen this year, and it may hold off in the spring, depending on how much funding I can secure for it, because my goal is to try to get it that we aren't having to pay out of pocket for very much of it. And I did confirm with Efficiency Vermont, we do have a little more leeway on which contractor we want to go with. We need to use one of their approved contractors to do the air tests to see how much heat loss we have and whatnot, but we can put it out to bid for local spray foam, because they sent me a list of 32 contractors and there was only 1 in Franklin County, and I know there's a lot of others, so I'm like, I don't recognize any of these, so there's some play there that we can put it out just more locally if need be, but I'd like to continue going with this. It'll save us money in the summer, well, for heat, in the wintertime, and then it'll help kind of regulate the temperatures in the summer. And spray foam's the way we're looking to go for our value to lessen any critters moving in and making a home and fiberglass. So
sounds good to me.
Same.
I'll keep you posted. Budget schedule for 2023. I want to change it a little bit. I'd like to start in September. The biggest reasoning for this is there's a lot of grant resources that open up in October and November where we could have an answer by the first of the year as to any funding that we can receive for projects that we're talking about. The biggest thing that I want to start with is kind of our capital projects, any paving projects, any upgrades to the light building, water and light, any upgrades for there. See what we have in savings, see what we can secure for funding for these projects, and then that'll help us offset the budget and not have to put the burden on taxpayers so much. So if we start sooner, we can plan a little bit better to secure funding so we're not putting the burden on the taxpayers and ratepayers. So I would like to start September. My goal would be to have them pretty much wrapped up by January 1st. And like I said, then there's a lot of grants. I already have a folder started for projects for next year and grants that we can apply for.
So if we do it that early, is there any risk of the budget numbers changing between January 1st and village meeting, annual meeting?
We cannot finalize them until closer to the annual meeting if everybody is more comfortable with that. But it would
At least have them set. So
have it kind of set, and then if anything, not a final draft of it, which we could still do maybe usually February 1st, I think is the goal for the annual report. So it would kind of just push us a month ahead at the end and maybe not have to meet as much, give a little more time and give a little more time to have more discussions. I feel like this past year, a lot of project ideas came up at the tail end of everything where we were under the wire to make some decisions. And this, if we start brainstorming now or earlier, August, September about any, Maple Park projects or any of these projects, we can get a good jump start and maybe secure some funding.
Makes a lot of sense to me. I feel like the year before too was kind of similar, just like kind of, oh, we're doing budgets, let's get all of our ideas down in numbers.
Yeah, that's gave us a little bit more time,
Yeah.
more better planning too for projects, so we're not just putting the full burden on to our ratepayers or on the taxpayers. Let's see what's out there. From all the research I've done so far, a lot of grants, especially the state, open October, November. So you'll know by December if you're going to be awarded the funds or not.
sounds good to me.
So just wanted to kind of put that out there, and I'm going to start bugging you guys sooner for budgets. Electric department digger truck. So we put together an RFP for the new digger truck that was approved through the 2022 budget process. And then at the VEPSA meeting, I learned that Ludlow is selling a digger truck and asked if we'd be interested. Started emailing back and forth with their general manager. They sent me a bunch of pictures. I sent them to Dave, I showed them to Sam. Dave and Ryan actually drove to Ludlow today and checked out the truck. Spoke briefly with Dave when he got back around 4, and he said it's a really nice truck. It's a 2001. But he said for its age, it's a really nice truck. He said they did such a good job with the undercoating on the truck. It looks brand new. They take really good care of their vehicles. He seemed pretty good about it. Asking price was around $65, but we're going to do some research into what that truck is worth at this point in time. It's a Freightliner. It would be kind of a temporary fix for a while. It was one of those that could probably get us through the next, 5 to 10 years maybe, but still the game plan down the road is we're eventually going to have to buy a new one. But this kind of buys us some more time to plan, and it's a newer truck that's in a lot better shape than what we have, because we run the risk next year when we have to do the inspection of going through the $10,000 that we had to go through this year to get it to pass inspection. So that's probably going to be another next trustee meeting on the agenda, and I'll try to get Dave here since he actually went down and looked at the truck as well.
Only a couple $100,000 cheaper than a new one.
Right.
Yeah, and it could last us quite a few years. They purchased a new one just because of they have a rotation on their vehicles, so they purchased a new one, and they were originally going to keep this one in Ludlow, but they don't have enough garage space essentially, so it's coming down to, so they made the decision that they were going to sell it. But
Good for us.
yes, very good for us. Joint meeting with the town of Enosburg. So we were talking April. Didn't really work out with the timing of everything to get an April one. May 2nd was a date that was thrown out. It's a Monday. It's an off meeting week for us. If that sounds good to you guys, I know the select board has said that would work for them. If everyone is in agreement, I can get back to Billy Joe and get that scheduled. And then my next question would be, I know Heather and Sam have sent me some agenda topics, but just to finalize any agenda topics that we would want on there.
We could have ideas and then our next trustee meeting too. That's still not too late, correct?
Probably prior to that would be best, just because it has to be warned. It would have to be worn, well, yeah, you could do
Do you remember what we have so far? It's,
it. Bridge 50,
yep, and then the depot house.
yep. When did the law enforcement contract and that conversation want to get started earlier, or were we gonna hold off on that till? I don't remember. There was something else.
contract?
I don't know. I
No,
think
it's
they just
a
timed it.
3-year.
Is it a 3-year?
I think so.
3 year.
Because I remember they were trying to talk them into a 5.
Yeah.
That, I think.
I don't remember.
Yeah, we can.
We get emails, but
I can send
on
out
it.
what's already been sent to me. I can send you guys an email. If you think of anything else, just reply back to me on that. And once I get
I
everybody.
think ARPA might have.
ARPA was done.
Oh yeah, there's a transportation.
Or-
Wasn't there a transportation grant or something like that?
Possibly, that sounds familiar now that you say that.
I'll have to look.
But, so just May 2nd, first of all, everybody think that'll be fine? We can schedule that.
6:30 emergency services.
I believe so, yes. And then I'll send out, like I said, I'll send you guys an email tomorrow with what topics have already been brought up, and then if you have anything else to offer, let me know.
Perfect.
I feel like, oh, one more thing that's not on here, the emergency management plan, we updated it last year, but our regional planning commission didn't make all of the updates we sent them, so we're redoing it with the town. The town has already gone through it, and we just need to sign off on this. It typically would have been John signing off on it. If I can get you to sign off on it, I've gone through it, Gary's gone through it, all the departments have gone through it, just updating point of contacts is.
Yeah, I thought we did this like recently.
We did.
Last couple months.
No, we did it last summer. Gary did it last summer because it was right after I started. We sent all the corrections in, and the Regional Planning Commission just never updated any of the corrections that we sent in, and or any of the corrections that the town sent in either. So we're basically redoing what we already did. So
Okay.
I'll just need you to resend. I've got the original that Larry signed, just I'll ship it back. But I don't think we need a motion for that. It's just
No, we'd already
yeah, just resend.
resubmitting what we've already done.
Yeah, and I think that's it.
Okay.
That's all I have for you.
Well, thank you very much.
Thing I couldn't remember when Gary was here, when are we gonna put our signs back up? Do we know?
Whenever you guys tell us to put the signs back up.
Would you like to direct staff to hang signs back up?
I think it's time to put the speeding signs back up.
Right.
I think we're out of winter.
Where
People are trying to go fast, just trying to get loud.
where do you want them to be put up?
Well, I think Orchard needs one still. We've gotten complaints
Already.
on Orchard.
Yeah.
That one doesn't go away.
The other two places we had talked about was Pleasant Street and Church Street.
Yeah, Pleasant and Church.
We've had people attend a meeting from church talking about it previously.
Yeah, I feel like there's a reason for that, why there's so much traffic on Church.
I think it's just one of those routes out of the village.
I think it's just to cut them through the, avoid going through the village.
Avoid the Main Street corner. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either.
And they're not permanent. I mean, we could try it there for a while.
You want to put one on Church?
I'm up for either street. I don't care.
I'm also not sure that they need to be up for 60 days. Like, I know, like, 60 days was, like, partially data collection, but also, like, that's the maximum of
That was 90
premium, 90 days? 90 days, yeah, of premium effectiveness.
Mhm.
But I'm not sure if, 90 days, because I knew it felt really, really
The only
long.
They were up there all last year.
Yeah, and they didn't.
All they did was they switched or something.
Yeah, turn them
The
around.
only thing I'm gonna add to that is just the staff labor intensive side of that. If we're moving them more frequently, it takes a couple hours. They have to get the backhoe, pull it out, set the pole. Not saying it can't be
Maybe 2
done.
months instead of
but-
3 months.
Well, once we put a pole in, it pulls in. And we
Right,
just take the
pulls
sign
I don't know
off
how
the
many
pole.
poles do, extra poles do. I don't know how many we have extra for that. Do you remember?
I remember Gary saying it was just a standard sign pole.
Yeah, I don't think it was anything special.
Yeah.
Okay, that was my only.
If we
Yeah,
did it more frequently, I think it would tend to
We
keep
could do a 60-day. That's fine by me. 90 seems.
if they pop up more frequently in different places, people are gonna be more on their toes.
So where do we want the second on Church Street? and where on Church Street.
Can they be put on 105 or not?
No,
No, that's
No.
state highway.
they can be put on.
Because they come in from Naples right over the hill.
Alright, they go by my place.
Well, it's right where your driveway starts is where we have Elm Street. So we could put them on.
I'd like one up by my place before somebody gets killed up there. It's ridiculous the speed they come into Enosburg.
Yeah, actually, I got passed by a car right there the other day.
Oh my goodness.
And I was like, what if, this is pretty much Main Street. What do you
I
do?
got passed by somebody right by Jolly the other day.
That's crazy. You want to put one there by your place?
Put it on my lawn if you want. I don't care.
Yeah,
You think we should put it before the hill or after there's just a little bit of a hill right there?
When I back out of my driveway, I don't back out, I turn around. Because from Naples, you go up and you're coming down.
Right.
And the sun at night, the sun's coming right down and you can't see nothing. And they come in there at a speed. If there was a child out there, the child wouldn't have time to get out of the.
Is there a crosswalk right there
There's a
too?
crosswalk right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's in a bad spot. It's right.
What if it should be back by my place to get them to slow down before they actually hit the residential?
I don't think
Yeah.
we can because it's either that so the intersection of Water Tower and JView Drive is state,
Right.
and as soon as it hits the state driveway, then it's ours.
So that's where the line is?
Yeah.
So have you ever noticed the speed limit sign is way off there?
Well, because it's a 30.
Well, on one side of the street, it's 25, like in front of my place, vice versa. It's like the Water Tower Road. The two signs are way.
Yeah, I don't think you. So I think that there must be some sort of like VTrans minimum sign placement. I mean, we ran into this with a pedestrian crosswalk. It has to be at least 100 feet. So you'll always see staggered speed limit signs. You'll never see them right next to each other, facing off.
Cause you have to have the reduced speed sign and then that has to be so far
Because they
before
got the
the.
state
Yeah,
highway
there's gotta be
and end sign at the same
Tolerances
sign.
there, yeah. But that whole thing with McDermott's wide open parking lot makes it hard to put signs in places. So it may
Could
be
it go on the
weird.
other side of the street? Rather than catch
No, I don't think. Yeah, I'm sure that there's difficulty with sign stuff there, and so like the speed limit sign, we're gonna want to put it more towards your house, more towards the village,
I
right?
think one on Main Street makes a lot of sense.
Because you kind of can't really go fast unless Main Street's empty. But coming in on Elm, yes,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I remember when we first started really getting the noise complaints was people coming down the hill into Enosburg. Like,
Mhm.
yeah.
And you know, a lot of it is at night.
Sheriff too.
yeah, daytime.
A
I noticed.
lot of daytime sheriff coverage.
And it's mostly at 6, 7 o'clock at night. The speeders. I don't know if it's kids or what, but it's.
So
Let's put it on Leonard's lawn.
yeah, you want to put one over by your place somewhere?
You're welcome to put it.
Does that make sense, everyone? All right.
So
we'll
we'll
go-
Try there.
We'll do Orchard and
Yep,
Main
Orchard and yep,
I'm sure
Orchard and
you're
Elm.
at Leonard's.
And I forgot just where I was the other day. They got a rubber bump that you put across the road. You don't, in the wintertime, you just pull it out.
Mhm.
This was in St. Albans.
Mhm.
And they got just this rubber, like a bump where it's not going to hurt your vehicle and you're going to know you hit it. And probably next time you slow down.
Yeah, if it gets to that point, I think it'd be worth considering.
Because I understand, if you put something permanent, the snow plows and everything, that's not good. But these rubber things, and you can move them around.
Right. Yeah. Something to consider.
You could put one up the State Park Road to slow her down.
I also drive on Orchard Street because I cannot maintain my speed down there.
Okay.
Well, we won't be putting any speed bumps in for her then.
Okay.
They'll fly right off the road. Okay, we're already kind of into other business. Is there any other business?
I was just wondering, to refresh my memory, when we should be hearing back from the grant for moving the sidewalk. So I know we've got the Vermont Rise match monies set, but
I feel like it was closer to June. I think there was a little bit, but I will double check that. mention the end of this month, because June was when we had to use RISE funds.
Yeah,
So it might actually be this month. I will reach out to Elizabeth Nance tomorrow and I will send you guys an email.
okay, thanks, I just thinking of too many grants coming back in, I couldn't remember the date.
Other business?
Big business. Did you have a birthday this past week?
2 weeks ago.
Oh, 2 weeks ago.
Yeah,
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
I'm an old man now.
You're a little way.
Yeah.
Welcome to the club.
Yeah. Okay. Well, if that's it for other business, I'll hear a motion to head into executive session for the purpose of discussing personnel issue.
I move.
Eli's the first or second.
I'll second that.
Leonard second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right.